This is 7 News.
Tonight, hundreds of people left without homes in Tasmania's bushfire disaster.
It just come down there at, Jesus, nearly 100 mile an hour.
The island state tonight on high alert. A Perth father has emergency surgery after being stabbed in his Bali villa. Perth beaches closed again as sharks are spotted close to shore. And tickled pink, millions raised for breast cancer.
From the studios of 7 Perth, Emmy Kubainski.
Good evening. At least 90 homes have been destroyed in Tasmania's bushfire disaster, and tonight there remains a threat to life and property. The worst of the losses is at Dunalley, 60 kilometres east of Hobart, where a fire is still out of control, while blazes at Bicheno and Lake Repulse also threaten communities. Thousands of people are still stranded tonight, and hundreds have discovered they don't have a home.
The cruel reality of a bushfire. Home after home burned to the ground, others nearby still standing. This is the aftermath of Tasmania's Fawcett fire, and the danger's not over yet. It's still out of control and still burning near homes. At a dozen fires across the state, scenes of an emergency still very real. This is Primrose Sands, where last night residents fled to the beach as winds drove the fire front towards their town.
That hill over there, you saw a little line around it and then it just exploded.
It was scary, I won't deny it.
A handful of properties were hit, but so many more were saved. That battle continued today. Residents on high alert as the fire rose again from the blackened earth.
This is what fireys and locals had feared. As it got warmer and the winds picked up, fires would flare up. They're trying to jump on them as quickly as possible.
Boomer Bay was not so lucky. Barry and Diana were told the fire was 2 hours away. 30 minutes later, flames were at their doorstep.
There was no way we were going to be able to survive with the wind. We'd have to get out as soon as we can.
They huddled with neighbours at the jetty in the heat and choking smoke as half the village's houses were consumed.
Just couldn't believe that how utterly devastated it is. There's just nothing.
There were flare-ups here too, firefighters turning up in force and taking no chances. So many farms have been caught in the fire's path, like Lee Arnold's.
Shearing shed, wool shed, shearers' quarters and one house.
Farmhands had to cut the fences to let hundreds of sheep and cattle run for their lives. During yesterday's firestorm, in scorching temperatures, the town of Dunalley was destroyed. And in the Midlands at Lake Repulse, a blaze started by a campfire raced through bush and into farmland. Water-bombing helicopters did what they could to protect homes and livestock. Here, a lone firefighter tried to beat the flames back with his coat. Another blaze at Bicheno was started by a lightning strike. A dozen homes have been lost on the town's southern outskirts, and the battle to contain the blaze continues tonight. Fire chiefs say the lessons of previous fires have been learnt and warnings heeded.
They knew that for their own survivability they really needed to follow our advice.
As emergency crews worked to reopen the Arthur Highway into the Tasman Peninsula, a flotilla of boats and ferries began bringing people up the Derwent to Hobart.
Last night was a bit eerie. Because there's a lot of ash and things like that.
People have got their dogs and there's babies crying, and it's just this real, like, everyone's just on edge because they don't know if their families are safe.
Many remain stranded. Providing for them is a priority, and for police, a careful check to ensure no lives were lost.
It literally requires going from premises to premises that's been affected by the fire and confirming that there's been no deaths.
Conditions are cooler, but no one is relaxing. Not yet.
We'll be working with local communities to support them through, but a lot of devastated people today in Tasmania.
And Seven's Paul Caddick is in the fire zone and the danger is far from over.
Well, Emmy, behind me you can see the smoke from what they're calling the Fawcett fire, which yesterday caused so much devastation. Late today, authorities upgraded the threat from this blaze to an emergency warning. It had been moving south down the Tasman Peninsula, but this afternoon the winds have picked up and started blowing it in our direction towards Hobart. We've seen helicopter water bombers overhead and plenty of fire crews moving in, all trying to prevent a repeat of last night's destruction.